What up, y'all, and welcome back. Welcome back. So we're talking about Atlanta being gentrified to the T on today's video. Like, when I say to the T, we are one of the top 10 cities in the United States for mass gentrification of our inner city neighborhoods. And I'm here to talk to you about if it's a good thing or if it's a bad thing. Because some of y'all are going to say, yeah, it's a great thing. And then some of y'all are going to say, hell no, we don't want it. We don't want gentrification in our city. Get out of here. So just for context, I want to define gentrification. I'm not going to give you the textbook definition of it, but it's basically when impoverished areas are flipped into new industrial style areas and new homes get put in for more money savvy people. Just putting it into plain English for you. People that can pay more move in and the poor people get pushed out. Plain and simple. That's usually what it is. So why is this happening in Atlanta? Well, Atlanta is one of the hugest places in the country for trade and for innovation. Yes, the CDC is here, industry is here, film is here, tech is here. So much is in Atlanta that it can't afford to be poor anymore. Simply put, right? So is that a good thing or a bad thing? I have mixed feelings about this. So I'm going to say 3 parts, yes, is a good thing, and 1 parts, no, it's a bad thing. If we had 4 parts to this answer, 3 parts, yes, 1 part, no. Let's go ahead and tackle the no first on why it's not a good thing, and then I'll tell you why it is a good thing on the other parts. The first part I'd like to go over is, of course, we got the displacement of low income people in these houses and in these neighborhoods. And I'm going to be honest with you, primarily they are going to be black. Atlanta is still primarily black, 46% black, 38%, I think, white, which the white population has gone up in the last 5 years. I think in 2020, it was around maybe 32%, somewhere around there. But yes, the white population has gone up due to the mass gentrification and the renovations that have been taking place around the city. So the displacement of these people, they have to have somewhere to go. These people that are in the impoverished areas or the low income areas, they're going to go to other cities, other outskirts of cities, maybe Conyers, maybe Covington, but they're going to go somewhere. And a lot of these people can't afford to stay in the inner city anymore because it is just too damn expensive. I remember back in the day when the area around the Beltline, before the Beltline even really existed, right? That area around the Beltline used to be a cheap area you could live in. I'm not going to lie. It was a high crime rate area, sure, but it was a very cheap area you could live in. I had family that stayed around that area. Now, the apartments around the Beltline, I'm going to be honest with you, you probably get a 2-bedroom for about $4,000, $5,000 around there. They're insanely expensive, and many people cannot afford to live in that area anymore. They have ripped apart all the low income housing and put these expensive townhouses, expensive apartments. They've completely redone the infrastructure. So yeah, you got the people that have the low income out there and they have nowhere to go now. They have to move to, out in the boonies. I'm going to be honest with you. They got to move out in the boonies now because the city has become way too expensive. All right. So that's one of the bad things. Also, there is a huge culture shift in the city. Atlanta doesn't have, and I did a video about this the other day called Atlanta Ain't the Same No More. But Atlanta has experienced a huge culture shift. Atlanta almost has zero culture anymore. Like it is almost like going to a San Francisco or an LA, but without the history of San Francisco and LA, like a modern San Francisco and LA with no beach, or a modern day Miami with no history of Miami. It is almost like coming to a new city when people come to Atlanta. There is no enriched history about our metro areas. The only time you're going to see that history is if you go on Auburn Avenue, Edgewood. Even Auburn Avenue and Edgewood is getting gentrified as well. But they still have the historic areas where Martin Luther King used to live and Ebenezer Baptist Church and so on and so forth. So they still have a lot of rich cultural identity around those areas. But at the same time, it is slowly fading. That cultural identity is slowly fading away, and we're becoming this modern industrious city. So you got the displacement of low income people. And then you have the cultural displacement as well of the enriched Atlanta culture. Atlanta was one of the hubs for civil rights movement. So we're automatically going to have a huge enriched culture down here, which I'm going to be honest with you, it just isn't as prevalent anymore. It's dying down. So those are the bad things, of course. And those are the only bad things I can think of as far as gentrification goes. But I got to be honest with you. I'm a realist, okay? I'm going to be honest. Gentrification, it's mostly good. It's mostly good. You want to know why? Because the infrastructure gets improved. When the infrastructure gets improved, you have street lights that work. You have police that actually come into neighborhoods. You get an excess of a police force in the area, which makes the neighborhood safer. You have a drop in the crime rate. You increase the money that comes into the city, thus improving the amount of jobs that come into the city. So the residents of Georgia are actually going to get richer from this. All right. Not every resident, but the qualified residents of Georgia that are qualified to work at these certain technological companies and car plants and film studios and things like that, yes, they are going to experience an influx in pay. All right. And that's a great thing. I'm going to be honest with you. That's a great thing, because at the end of the day, we have to look out for our pockets. That's the name of the game. Everything revolves around money. Everything doesn't revolve around culture, y'all. I'm sorry to tell y'all. You know, as much as we would like to keep the city hood rich, something has to change. The hood has to get torn down. Condos have to go up. New apartment buildings and lofts have to go up, and enriched housing has to go up. The infrastructure has to be totally ripped out and replaced in order for the city to thrive. I mean, if you live down in this, in the state of Georgia, and you go around to the areas on 285, you can even see the difference in the highways or when you get to the black side of town. Can you not? As soon as you drop from 75 down from Marietta to around maybe, I want to say I-20 East going around Wesley Chapel, Candler Road, the highway is just a mess. You got trees growing onto the highway. You got cigarette butts everywhere. I mean, it's graffiti everywhere. It just looks like Gotham City at night. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy. That's because the infrastructure is gone in that area. There's no money in those areas. When's the last time, all my Georgia people, when is the last time you got a job on the east side that actually paid good? I'm not talking about at a tire shop or a chicken place or a liquor store. I'm talking about an industry job where you had to have some type of level certification or a state or some type of state licensing in order to do this job. There are none. I'm from that side of town. I can tell you straight up, there are no industry jobs on the east side. You know, the only industry jobs you'll have is some trucking warehouses over in the, Anvil Block area and things like that. And maybe around, Moreland and stuff like that. But that's pretty much it. Everything else is pretty much dead over there. And I'm going to be honest with you, that side of town is going to be next. So everybody on the east side, if you own homes, please hold on to those homes because they're going to be worth a lot of money in the next 10 to 20 years. All right. But it is primarily a good thing, because we need to reduce the crime. Yes, we need to make an influx in the technological advances of our city. We need to build up our profits. We need to build up our jobs. We need to make sure this city is a city that we can be proud of, not a city that we just love, a city that we can be proud of and raise our kids in. All right, because as much as we love the culture, as much as we love the hood, it's not safe. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. It's not safe. I mean, look, you know as well as I know, parking your vehicle downtown on a street is like rolling the dice. When you come back, it's a 50-50 chance that your window is gonna be broken and they're gonna been done stole some change out your ashtray. I'm just gonna be completely honest with you. You can't even park downtown without paying to park. You can't park on the street and just think your car is safe. We haven't lived in that type of city for the last 2 decades. It's about time we're able to do that. If I had kids, I wouldn't walk around with them on old 4th Ward, 10, 20 years ago. But today, sure, there's people jogging down 4th Ward now. Like, I kid you not. There's people jogging down 4th Ward. You can go to the Beltline and you see all these apartments. All of them are nice. All of them are nice. And of course, we got little droplets here and there of, some crime here and there. But for the most part, it is to a minimum. crime has decreased as the gentrification has went up. As much as I hate seeing people displaced from their home, the stoic part of me, the reasonable part of me, the rational part of me knows that it is eventually for a better good. All right. And sometimes you do have to deal with small evils in order to gain the large good. So I know, like I said, a lot of y'all got, opinions on this, and some of y'all hate gentrification. Some of y'all actually love it. I happen to be one of those people who has mixed feelings on it. I believe these people should have somewhere to go. I think when these large, corporations come in and buy up all this land in the impoverished areas, I think they should offer these people deals to move to certain places for discounted rent, just to make it easier for them, or to have a set rent price for people who are being displaced due to this type of stuff happening to them. But at the end of the day, like I said, I think it's for the greater good, and I think our city will benefit from this more than be hurt from this. Yes, the culture is going to hurt, but at the same time, the actual city is going to thrive because of this. All right. Now, I want to know what y'all think about this. Of course, some of y'all are going to disagree with me. Some of y'all are going to say, "You full of shit, Ali," but that's cool. Leave your comment anyway. And as always, if you like what you see, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see y'all later. Peace.